미국 ABC 뉴스는 사람이 두 번째로 코로나가 감염되는 것은 아닌 것 같다는 한국의 발표를 보도했습니다. 한국정부가 코로나 재확진자가 타인을 감염시킬 전파력이 없다고 발표한 내용을 근거로 재양성에 대한 해석을 한 것인데요. 한국의 코로나 대응을 눈여겨보고 있던 미국이 한국의 재확진 조사에 대한 발표에 촉각을 세운 것 같습니다. 이 보도 내용을 한영자막으로 편집을 하였습니다. 감사합니다.
But we're going to begin this evening with news from South Korea, where at first they thought some people were getting infected for a second time. They no longer believe that's the case. We begin with ABC's Alex Perez on that and the race for a vaccine tonight.
Tonight, an encouraging turn in the battle against the pandemic after fears that virus patients in South Korea had gotten it a second time. The South Korean CDC thinks it's likely that people cannot be infected twice. But that conclusion is still preliminary, and they don't know how long that immunity would last. Those scientists are pointing to those relapsing cases, now saying they were actually due to testing failures.
These results are very encouraging and should be very reassuring to the public that once you get infected with COVID-19, it's unlikely that you're going to get infected again.
277 recovered South Korean patients had tested positive for a second time, along with patients in China and Japan. This prompted fears the virus was mutating so quickly that people were not immune to catching it again. The South Korean CDC calling those test results false positives. In addition, they're saying those patients were no longer infectious because the traces of the virus detected were actually harmless dead samples. Tonight, the race to find a vaccine to prevent the spread is on. Pharmaceutical giant Pfizer is running Operation Lightspeed. Phase 1 and Phase 2 trials underway simultaneously. 330 people getting the experimental vaccine at the University of Maryland, NYU, and in Germany.
We're just throwing everything we have at it to make it happen.
At this plant in Kalamazoo, Michigan, manufacturing is ramping up even before having the vaccine. 75 workers are essentially sequestered, working around the clock. So once it's developed,
The goal is to have 10 million doses available commercially by year end.
And in 2021, they hope to manufacture 200 million doses. But there are major challenges in handling the vaccine that are still being worked on.
We have to be able to freeze it, handle it under frozen conditions. So we have people working to design a facility to do that.
Alex with us live tonight, and promising news there on a hunt for a vaccine. Also that promising news out of South Korea at the top of your piece, where we know they were worried about people getting reinfected or infected a second time. They're now saying those positive test results did not mean that they were actually infectious. It was picking up evidence in the body from the first fight against the infection.
Yeah, that's right, David. And those results are so promising that authorities in South Korea are actually removing their requirement that people who have had COVID-19 must test negative before returning to school or work. So that requirement, they're now doing away with it. David?
Again, no promise how long that immunity could last, but it is a promising development. Alex, thank you.